The following question reads that an aircraft travels at a constant velocity of 90 meters per second in a horizontal flight. The diagram shows some of the forces acting on the aircraft. So there's weight, there's thrust, the forward force, which is making the airplane fly, and then there's drag, there's air resistance. The air resistance would be pushing the plane backwards, and that's 2400 newtons. And then the mass of the aircraft is 2000 kg. So 2000 kg is the mass. The weight is going to be, if you multiply it by gravity, it's going to be 9.81. So that is going to be the weight of the plane. And the question now is, what is the power produced by the thrust force? So what is the power that is produced? Now, one thing you need to understand first is that thrust is only occurring in the horizontal direction. So thrust force has nothing to do with the weight over here. The weight is only there to confuse you. So thrust is happening in the forward direction. The only component of the forces that is acting in the opposite direction is the drag. So the horizontal component, thrust is a horizontal force. So the vertical force, thrust is doing nothing against this vertical force. So get rid of this, just ignore this, because that has nothing to do with thrust. Thrust is occurring or happening in the direction of the drag, so drag force. And since the plane is traveling at a constant velocity, which means that there should be no net force, there should be no acceleration in either direction, at least in the horizontal direction. So if the drag force is 2400 newtons, the thrust must also be 2400 newtons, so that there is no net force and there is no net acceleration, because it is a constant velocity. It's traveling at a constant velocity. So I'm going to take thrust as 2400 newtons. And since we are asked to find power is basically, the formula of power is force multiplied by velocity. So power is work done over time. So velocity is distance over time. So it's force into distance. So I can put that, I can use that in brackets just to make you clear what the formula is. So force multiplied by distance, that's work done, divided by time, that would be work done with respect to time. So that would be power. Work done, at what rate is the work being done with respect to time? So, which is why we multiplied by velocity. So we have force, which is 2400 newtons, and we also have velocity, which is given over here. It's 90 meters per second. So I'm going to multiply the two, and the answer that I'm going to get is, it's coming out to be 216 with 3 zeros. So 216 with 3 zeros, and again we must be careful about the signal figures. You would notice that the signal figures given over here, it's up to 2 signal figures, which is why the values over here in the answers are rounded up to 2 signal figures. So it's going to come out to be, if I round this off, remember velocity is given up to 90. It's there's nothing after decimal, which means you're not sure what the accuracy is. So it's up to 2 signal figures. So I'm going to round that off to 22 with 4 zeros. So that's 2.2 into this is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So it's going to be 2.2 into 10 to the power 5 watts. That is going to be your the power that that is generated by the thrust over here.